I didn't love that I had this tendency towards melody or the appetite for drama, always obvious in my thinking and in everything I did. I wasn't TV. Thought I watched myself, sometimes passively, as though brained or bludgeoned out of the fullness of my own reality. I felt I had to respect what seduced me, even if stupidity, even when it made me stupid or meant I was making of my mind a begging bowl, laying myself waste for the devil, making an innocent victim of the child within. So ferociously did I fear something adult like sovereignty. Survival was a big box store bought blanket, not wet but scented with the antiseptics of the factory. It would take days to air out, get it to, resemble the picture of something homey and grandmother made. I know what it's like to pay money for such, the three-dimensional image of things, to find them feeling hollow and smelling wrong. I know what it's like. The imitation of life. I almost know what it means. I discipline my own form and the thinking within me. That may not be a religion, but it is a grim theology. The more muscle I had, the better I felt I could contain and conduct the sorrow within. The smoother ran my blood and lymph. My body dismayed me and I hated, adored it. Reoccurrent dreams of defected dolls kept coming back to warn me. You are not a thing. You are not the object against which forces tilt that you cannot control. You are the entire subject of the world. Tears roll down a cheek of stone. My friend Terry writes about water and land, mother and brother, like a singer. I once despaired to her that the only endangered species I had managed to speak of behalf of up to the moment was myself. This seemed squandered and narrowed me. Terry said it was real territory. I blanked melancholy into the seething night like a spotted owl in the eye of a security camera, black and white bird without offspring or prey. My body is filled with plastic. I left my mother to die. To write these lines, you will parry that such is a false economy. But so are all the other ones we live by. This is the Mac Oligarchy podcast, and I'm your host, Tim McClone. That was a poem by Adriana Rains called The Economy. Adriana said this was the first real poem she was able to write after her mother's suicide. She was staying at an Airbnb during the pandemic, wanting to be alone, think through her thoughts, deal with her sorrow. And she said there was something comforting about the familiarity of the place she stayed at. She realized during her solitude that she had to come to feel almost like a bird flying over the parched and herald lands of her own soul and body. She said, I saw how hard it became for me to trust anyone with my pain or to believe in the possibility of healing. I was beyond the point of healing, she said. I like what she says here. This really stuck with me. She said, you have to pay a lot. You have to pay a lot in so many ways to take part in this world. And yet it's your living and your love that is this world's real wealth. I love that. I'm going to say that again. She said, you have to pay a lot, and in so many ways to take part in this world. And yet it's your living and your love that this world's real wealth. That's awesome. That's it right there. You take one thing away, you take that away. And I always said that. You're going to get punched in the face every day. Everyone gets a yin and a yang. Life ain't easy for anyone. You may see the guy. There's a friend of mine friend of a friend who lives in the Anaheim Hills in Orange County, and sold a company. Beautiful house, $9 million, free and clear. The guy's getting cocaine delivered to his house every 2 days, every 48 hours, going through so much. You look at that house, you look at the 9 cars in the driveway, and you think, that guy's got it together. No, he doesn't. You never know what someone's going through. There's always a yin and a yang from God. And everyone's got it. You may have this wonderful talent for whatever it might be, singing, but everyone's got their problems. And like I said, you're going to get punched in the face every day you get out of bed. But it's how you roll with it. You got to expect the worst in life and hope for the best. And know that you're going to get punched in the frickin' face every day. And you just got to get up and keep pushing. I fail every day. So, like this beautiful poem said, you have to pay a lot, in so many ways to take part in this world. That is absolutely lovely. I love that. And this is the poem that I've read so far in all the podcasts that I relate to the most. This really resonated with me. And if you take one thing away from this podcast, you take that away. You have to pay a lot in so many ways to take part in this world. And damn, you sure do, man. And but you keep pushing and driving. You believe in God. It's a wonderful place. And good things are going to happen. Just got to keep driving and not play the victim. We have this victim mentality now in life. And everyone wants to be the victim, but everyone struggles. Stop being a pussy. Stop complaining and get your ass out of bed and get it done. So I have to say this on every podcast, because that's the only reason I'm doing this. I'm not doing it for cash money. I'm not doing it for what? I don't know. I don't need to do it. But like I said, there's been a lot of changes. What's been going on in the last 3 years, and I don't like what I'm seeing. So why are we here? And like I said, remember the way we should look at the chessboard right now. The most important thing is maintaining the ability for us to discuss what needs to be discussed, what needs to be talked about in a place where it can be found by people who want to hear it. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. And we need more podcasts. We need more voices. I want to hear opposite voices of me, dissent, because I'll debate anyone all day long. And that's what we need to do, is debate and take your feelings out of it. Be passionate, but accept other people's opinions. You don't have to watch the podcast or watch the TV program or listen to this, do that. You can turn it off. But I want to hear people that don't agree with me, and I want to talk about it in a cool, calm, collective kind of way. And that's what this is all about. We need more podcasts. We need more people to talk. Don't be afraid to talk. And get it done. And that's why we're here, because what's on the ballot right now, what's most important for everyone on whatever side you're on. I'm not a political animal, but I've gotten put one foot in a little bit because it relates to business. But I believe in freedom of speech, and that's what's on the ballot in 2024. More than the border, more than the wars, more than the inflation, all the problems we have with, this race baiting and all this nonsense, is freedom of speech. And, if you study this, people want to take that away. Both sides, if you really follow the uniparty at the top of the political class, want to take it away, but one side is speaking out about it more. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's terrible. I want to hear all sides in a debate. I don't want anyone to be censored and squandered. That's what makes America great. So that's what's on the ballot, in my opinion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we celebrated Easter, the most important day for Christians, Catholics, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The one day a year. Such an important day. And I have to say, happy Easter from the Democrats. The Democrats doubled down on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. They said today, that day, yesterday, is Transgender Visibility Day. Unbelievable. Let me say that again. It's Transgender Visibility Day. And it's not, about Christianity and Christ. We're going to change that day. We don't want you to believe in God, the Lord. We want to divide and conquer and follow this Marxist philosophy. Now, the transgender, I'm all for it. What, 750,000 trans people out of 330 million? And from the research that I looked at, uh, you know, they affirmed that the controversial holiday is the same day as Easter Sunday. The holiest Christian holiday. Uh, and other Democrats pile on support for this day. This is the holiest of holiest days of the year, and they want to steal this day from Christians. Why can't you take another day? From my research, the transgenders have a lot of holidays right now. I mean, I had to pull some data on this, and it's quite astonishing how many days they have. I mean, let's take a look at this. The calendar is already filled, in my opinion. I mean, at least 50 other LGBTQ holidays are out there right now to LGBTQ nonprofit GLAAD and other, liberal institutions. So in January, we got National Mentoring Month. That's January 16th to January 22nd. That's No Name Calling Week, ladies and gentlemen. We have a No Name Calling Week. January 27th is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So No Name Calling is 16th to 22nd. February 7th is National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. A week after Valentine's Day. There's a Roma Spectrum Awareness Week. And there's a Crime Awareness Day, and then the Bisexual Health Awareness Month. That's the month of March. That week, it varies in March. So the National LGBT Health Awareness Week. March 1st is Zero Discrimination Day. March 10th is National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. March 20th is National Native AIDS Awareness Day. And March 31st is International Transgender Day of Visibility. Right now. So see, remember, Easter doesn't fall on every day the same. They're, but the day that, it changes, and the day that you have the holiest of holiest of Jesus Christ, you can't, you have to take that away now and say it's not, we just can't say, hey, it's Jesus Christ Day today, and tomorrow, April 1st can be Transgender Visibility Day. Obama would never do this and say it's going to be, it's going to be Muslim Day on the Easter Sunday. It's going to be Muslim Day. He would never do this. It's just absolutely disgusting. And that's just only March, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to bore you, but moving on to April. April 6th is International Asexuality Day. And then we're back to April 10th, National Youth HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. So we've already had multiple days for that. The third Friday of April is Day of Silence. And then April 18th is National Transgender HIV Testing Day. Man, they got a lot of days already. Can't Jesus Christ have one day? And then April 18th is Non-Binary Parents Day. Wow, so April 18th is Non-Binary Parents Day, and April 18th is National Transgender HIV Testing Day. And then April 26th is Lesbian Visibility Day. Also International Lesbian Visibility Week through May 2nd. That is unbelievable. It's phenomenal. So, and then the first Sunday in May is International Family Equality Day. And then May 17th is International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia and I don't know, biophobia. And May 19th is National Asian and Pacific Islander HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Alternatively, Pride Day. And then May 22nd is Harvey Milk Day, the movie. Remember Harvey Milk? Loved the movie. Great movie. And then May 24th is Pansexual, and Panoramic Awareness and Visibility Day. Moving on to June, ladies and gentlemen. That's LGBTQ Pride Month. June 1st, LGBTQ Families Day. June 5th, HIV Long-Term Survivors Awareness Day. June 12th, Pulse Remembrance. June 15th, anniversary of U.S. Supreme Court decision expanding protections for LGBTQ employees. June 26th, anniversary of U.S. Supreme Court legislation marriage equality. June 27th, National HIV Testing Day. We just had that last month. June 30th, Queer Youth of Faith Day. And now we're going on to July. We have, what is this? Omnisexual Visibility Day. Week of July 14th, Non-Binary Awareness Week. And Non-Binary People's Day on July 14th. International Drag Day is July 16th. Now moving on to August, it's Gay Uncles Day. Gay Uncles Day, August 14th. August 20th is Southern HIV Awareness Day. Moving on to September, National HIV/AIDS and Aging Awareness Day. Week of September 23rd, Bisexual Awareness Week, to celebrate Bisexuality Day on September 23rd. September 27th, National Gay Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Ladies and gentlemen, this goes on through October, November, December. October 8th, International Lesbian Day. October 8th is International Lesbian Day. October 11th is National Coming Out Day. There's so freaking many, I'm getting confused. October 19th, National LGBTQ Awareness Day. Third Wednesday in October, International Pronouns Day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Third week in October is the International Pronouns Day. Third Thursday in October is Spirit Day. Last week in October is Asexual Awareness Week. October 26th is Intersex Awareness Day. First Sunday of November is Transgender Parent Day. November 8th, Intersex Day of Remembrance. November 13th to 19th, Transgender Awareness Week. November 20th, Transgender Day of Remembrance. December 26th is, December 1st is World AIDS Day. December 8th is Pansexual Pride Day. And December 10th is Human Rights Day. And December 14th, HIV Cure Research Day. But thank goodness we have Transgender Visibility Day to recognize the total invisible and marginalized trans movement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable. So, on the most important day of the year for Christians, to celebrate Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we're not celebrating Easter, ladies and gentlemen. We are celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility. On the most important day of the year for Christians, the president insulted the entire Christian faith, in my opinion. Absolutely disgusting. No president has done anything like this. This is the New World Order. This is the Great Reset to overturn the founding of America itself. We are, ladies and gentlemen, endowed by our Creator. The right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, private property. Remember what Karl Marx said. The one thing we must abolish out of all things is to his people, his followers. Karl Marx said we must abolish religion. Because it brings people together. That's the 800-pound gorilla. Karl Marx said we must abolish religion, and religion is on the ballot, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask a question. Where's the Pope? Where are the Catholic bishops right now? This must be blocked at all costs. Now, I am for transgender 100%. Okay? 100%. But I just went through a list of all the days that transgenders have. And I'm for a Transgender Visibility Day. But can we celebrate the resurrection of Christ? There's more Christians in the United States than any other religion. And can we honor that day of Jesus Christ? That's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try to turn this into Tim is this, Tim is that. I'm all for transgender. I just went through a list of 6+ months, and it seems like the transgender has a lot of days taken up on the calendar. All we want is one day as Catholics and Christians to honor Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Am I asking too much, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, this is just so brazen and out of hand. It's like, hey, listen, we're going to cheat. We can say whatever we want now. We don't have to worry about what the people think of us. I mean, it's absolutely so brazen. You want to take a voting block away from you. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Where is the Democratic Party that I loved and that I voted for? Where is the Democratic Party that was the party of the working man? I got my problems with Republicans, ladies and gentlemen. 100%. Don't try to put me in that box. Very liberal on gay rights, women's rights, debated all day long. But this is disgusting. Barack Obama wouldn't do this. Maybe he's behind the scenes directing it. I don't know. But he wouldn't have a National Muslim Day on Day for Jesus Christ Easter. It's disgusting. You're pandering. It's like the right pandering to the far right, and they're pandering to the far left now. This is disgusting. It's atrocious. He should come out and apologize. One day you're going to meet your maker. And these people that don't believe in that, God bless you. I pray for you. God bless you. This is disgusting and it's shameful. And I'm just appalled when I read that yesterday, that you can't give these people one day a year and everyone else is celebrating transgender. I'm all for it. I live in California and I support my gay brothers and sisters and transgender brothers and sisters. And this is wrong. And everyone should condemn it. It should be a bipartisan effort. I know Democrats, I know liberals in New York. It hit the news. They're disgusted. In liberal New York, they are disgusted with what Joe Biden did. It's terrible. So, and here it is right here. This is just propaganda, lady. Listen to this. The White House is deliberately pushing different messages to its different language speaking audiences. So, on the main English account yesterday, they celebrated Transgender Day of Visibility. However, on the Spanish language account, the White House, they said 0 references to Trans Day of Visibility. Isn't, the bizarre omission of a transgender post suggests the White House is acutely aware Spanish-speaking citizens, many of whom are devout Catholics, may outright reject transgender indoctrination, which could hurt the Biden administration among demographics in a crucial election year. They're changing the wording depending on the audience, ladies and gentlemen. And it's clear as day. And it's just so terrible. It's so terrible. And it's propaganda 100%. It's pumping out. The only good thing is more people are aware of it on both sides, ladies and gentlemen. I try to stay in the middle here. I'm going to call out both sides. If you watch my channel, I call out both sides of this madness. And this is madness. And there should be more bishops coming out. The Pope. I know some people did the other day speak against this, and it's terrible. It's terrible. 100% terrible. Let the Christians have Easter, please. My God. Moving on. We have to talk about another important issue that's important to me, is illegal aliens given everything free right now while Americans starve. 60% of Americans U.S. citizens only have enough for a $400 emergency. The Biden government is incentivizing foreign invaders with promises of free healthcare, 100%, food, housing, cell phones, laundry services, and much more at taxpayer expense. It's very sad, folks. Why are we spending millions housing illegal migrants while Americans go homeless? That's from Newsweek. Their headline was, "Why are we spending millions housing illegal migrants while Americans go homeless?" That's from Newsweek. So, if you remember, December's winter storm saw U.S. citizens frozen to death in their cars and fallen streetside in snowbanks. Our migrant-obsessed legislators sent another screw you to the American people in the form of beefed-up assistance for illegal immigrants. Year-round, millions of Americans are homeless, or one paycheck away from being on the streets. 40,000 veterans are homeless across the nation, and 40% of our homeless population is black. They're suffering the most as a result of illegal immigration. Not legal, illegal. I'm all for legal immigration. But 40% of our homeless population is black. So there is extra, treachery is passing an ominous spending bill that includes $800 million in grants to build shelters for foreigners and illegal aliens. Not our blacks, brothers and sisters, not our veterans, but to build shelters for foreigners and illegal aliens. Theoretically, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this holistically, everyone deserves to have shelter and protection from the elements. I believe that 100%. Yeah, but this is the key. And this is what myopic people think, that aren't educated, that live in a vacuum. And I have friends that are worth tens of millions of dollars, and they live in their vacuum, and they go, "Oh well, we can say, we can house the world," as they hang out at their house in Ibiza, or Hong Kong or Singapore in their penthouse. Okay, it's not America's responsibility to house the world. It isn't. Particularly when our own homeless citizens have fought long and hard battles from across to clean to clean and safe shelter. You know, it's time to call out the policies of President Biden, complicit legislatures and executives of so-called sanctuary cities as anti-American betrayal that they are, housing criminals like that. I like to look at data. And according to economists at the University of Chicago, more than 500,000 Americans experience homeless every day. But there's just over 300,000 beds for homeless Americans. That means just 2 out of 3 homeless people across the U.S. can find temporary housing. And so a lot of people are going unsheltered. And we're bringing a lot of people in this country that don't deserve to be here. When you can't take care of your own house, your own people, think about that. Tensions flared last week in New York City when homeless Black Americans were removed from their shelter to be replaced by illegal aliens, ladies and gentlemen. National news was buried by some, but in New York City, homeless Black Americans were removed from their shelter to be replaced by illegal aliens. We all know about the stories I reported on this, the veterans who were put on the streets at a hotel to house illegal aliens. That's shameful. One Black gentleman said, "I have no idea why we are being displaced for them. Why we are being moved and shuffled around," one woman asked. So we do have a housing crisis in this country, yet millions are being spent to house people who aren't American, while low-income Americans go without, housing. New York City has spent $600 million to house migrants through its public housing residents. The city is going to put forth a ton of money for these people who aren't even citizens, but they forgot about the people who live in public housing right now. A lot of residents spoke up in a meeting. It's time to, I think, call out, this, what it is, anti-Black racism committed by Democrats, who for some reason have more compassion for people from other countries than their own fellow Americans. I mean, in Chicago, there was some Twitter videos and people were African-American Black residents were freaking out. And they were just talking about this and they're waking up to it. Illegal immigration hurts Blacks more than any other race. And maybe you should ask yourself this question: are some policies by the Republicans and Democrats let's take the Democrats just to get your vote and, give you welfare to get your vote? Do this, want to keep you down? Maybe they want to keep you down and don't want you to be productive. They don't want your vote. They see a big voting block coming in. So you know what? Forget that Black person. That's what's going on. Forget that American. Forget that veteran. Forget that. We don't need to take care of them. So this leads nicely into the next lovely story, ladies and gentlemen. An illegal alien was arrested for raping a mentally ill, incapacitated 14-year-old girl in Alabama. Let me say that again. An illegal alien was arrested for raping a mentally incapacitated 14-year-old girl in Alabama. The suspect, of an undisclosed nationality, accused of raping underage victim who could not consent because she is physically helpless or mentally incapacitated. Police arrested 23-year-old Pablo Mendoza on Monday in the city of Enterprise in Coffee County and charged him with first-degree rape. He's accused of having sexual intercourse on February 20th with a 14-year-old girl who could not consent because she is physically, ladies and gentlemen, helpless, mentally incapacitated, according to court documents. And, wouldn't have happened if this gentleman wasn't allowed to come here illegally. Coffee County Sheriff Scott Bride confirmed that with the outlet that Mendoza is illegally present in the United States, but his nationality is currently unclear. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden and his administration is aiding and abetting these monsters. 100%. I wish I had better news, but this is, it just goes on and on and on. It goes on and on and on. Every week to 10 days, I look at the news and get my news feeds. And this doesn't have to happen. Laken Riley would be alive today, jogging this morning on that path on campus, wanting to be a nurse to save lives. She's dead because of an illegal alien who came into the United States from El Paso, and then went to New York, partied up for a year, committed crimes in New York, got released, and then came down to Georgia to hide with his brother, who had an illegal green card and came here illegally too. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? And I get it. We have focus groups, and it's a political landscape, and they say, well, we need more voters. They're not buying what we're selling for our policies. We need to bring some people in. Give them IDs. Let them vote. Who cares if they kill people? Who cares if they rape people? I told you what's going on in Europe. You follow this holistically. It's a rape culture. A lot of these countries that are coming in. And it's coming here. It's already started, but it's coming here. I have my law enforcement buddies give me data in LA, in New York, in Atlanta, in Florida. I got friends on the force. It's coming here. Get ready. Rape is like going out and getting a soda to these people. It's just rape. I'm just going to 7-Eleven getting a slushie. I can rape a woman. Whatever. They deserve it. It's terrible. It's disgusting. This needs to stop. More people need to speak up against it. The raping of a mentally incapacitated 14-year-old girl. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, moving on. JP Morgan, and I did a lot of talks on this, has announced that it will be launching a biometric payment system next year, helping to keep up with the other major financial corporations like MasterCard and Visa. Biometric, ladies and gentlemen, that digital currency that I've been talking about. The Fed coin, doing that testing, was tested in China in 4 cities over 3 years ago. So, according to JP Morgan, we like to look at both sides of this. This approach will be safer and quicker than traditional methods of authentication and will work in e-commerce as well as in-person checkouts by incorporating biometrics into checkout. I think I'll pass. Shoppers will not have to take their time to enter in their email addresses for digital receipts or phone numbers to receive loyalty points, for example. So they're promising better customer loyalty and greater turnover, as well as centralized place for accessing transactions. So it will be offered to all businesses. The bank is particularly pushing quick service restaurants, convenience stores, grocery stores, and they want everyone to embrace the technology, of course, offering kickbacks through the back door. So what's the main benefit? I mean, I always tell you, when you're trying to break this stuff down, you got to follow the money trail. Everything is always about money and power at the end of this. They don't care about you. So the main benefit to JP Morgan, if you read between the lines, is obviously this: the opportunity to amass a treasure trove of biometric data. They want that data on you. They will also be selling merchant tablets for processing the payments and collecting transaction processing fees, cash money. However, businesses will also have the option of supplying their own device. The bank says they'll give those banks money to not do that. So they say that, like the checkout counter could simply need a tablet with a camera. Of course, they got to have a camera. They can take a picture of a shopper's face to process that payment. More tracking. So users are not afraid of sharing their biometric data with JP Morgan, can enroll in the program and verify their identity using biometrics before they will be able to use the payment method at self-service machines and checkouts. Go online, set up your account. They're going to have everything on you. You make that $21 haircut transaction, they want to know about it. So they'll have the option to use a palm fingerprint, of course, or a face scan to complement their checkout. Sounds wonderful. It sounds like you're in painting class. So creative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Great Reset in full effect. So they're going to be using AI. Google Intelligence indicates that biometric payments will reach 3 billion global users in the next 2 years alone, and 5.8 trillion in value. It's all about the money, and it's all about tracking so they can extract as much money out of you as possible. Okay, so So it's true that a person's face or palm cannot go missing the way that a credit card might. Uh, so artificial intelligence, as we all know, technology is growing, increasingly sophisticated, and can be used even by those without much technological knowledge to make fake versions of an individual's handprint. We've seen stuff like this going on with voices and morphine and all this stuff, so it's quite frightening. So they can make fake versions of an individual's handprint, face, voice to trick these payment systems. It's going to happen. It's all about old school, just using cash, you know? So once the biometric data has become stolen, you have very little recourse. You're screwed if they got all your data. So, it's easier when a credit card can be replaced. Replacing your palm or face, ladies and gentlemen, isn't really an option, is it? You see the problem with this? So keep an eye on that. I've been talking about this for over a year as far as the digital banking currency and how they want to streamline this to track, all your payment, the one payment system, and get rid of that cash. So get ready. Get ready. Moving on to some politics. It's pretty clear that the former RNC chair for $300K, Ronna McDaniel, will flip for you and change her opinion. What a loser this individual is. What a scumbag she was when she was the RNC chair, taking all that money for doing things on the side, limo rides, all this crazy shit, if you read about that. But now, she's just for sale. She's just for sale. No allegiance to her side of the party. So her short-lived, as you guys all know, she took a lucrative contract with, NBC. It was met with backlash from the anchor hosts, who are the talent, by the way. I don't know why they should be allowed to have an opinion. If I'm the management group of NBC, I'd be like, shut the hell up. We're hiring her and deal with it, or we're going to fire your ass. You're just a talent. You read off a teleprompter, you loser. So I think what's his Value Entertainment, Pat Davis, he did a good job in talking about this. And he said, guess who was selling? She's for sale. And he's right 100%. She's for sale. And she went over there. They fired her. She even cut her hair. I'm not going to get into that. But she cut her hair, kind of like what Megyn Kelly did. If you remember Megyn Kelly when she was really hot, she still is. Extremely intelligent. And, thank God she's on her own doing her own thing, because she's on all cylinders now. People tried to change who she was, and now she's back to her core. And she's crushing. And so Pat called it out right. This, RNC chair is for sale. So the talking heads of the corporate media took little time to prove, that the inmates were running the asylum after the former Republican National Committee chairman was hired and fired for her gig at NBC News. So, these, like I said, there was some on-air tantrums from the talent at NBC. They didn't want her. So she prostituted herself, and Donald Trump had some things to say about her for $300,000. Ronna McDaniel will flip for you and change her opinion, and that's what's pathetic. There's no loyalty anymore on either side, and if she's smart, if I was her, you sue him for millions of dollars. Because now she's in a box. She's screwed. She can't go back to the Republicans, and the Democrats don't want her. But she should have stayed loyal to the Republicans. You don't switch sides. And, she's going to be in some trouble. And good luck getting a job now. You're going to, someone to take her, though. She's connected. And we'll have to see how that pans out. But what a loser. I mean, what a loser. $300,000 only. Sold her soul for $300,000. You can't even get a good Ferrari for $300,000. It's just so it's like, hey, if Fox News gives you $500,000, would you go throw NBC under the bus? You sure would, you fake loser. What a loser. And enough of that. Did you know that 53% of millennial and Generation Z customers are resorting to buy now options, ladies and gentlemen? You know, ladies and gentlemen, we have that economy that's humming, right? Everything's great. 60% of Americans only have $400 in their account. Now Generation Z, especially the last year and a half, they're hitting a buy now option and pay later. They're using buy now and pay later services and racking up enormous debt. Fear of credit card debt and its high interest rate fuels, it's a company, BNPL surge. So recent data from analytics company at LexisNexis Risk Solutions found that 53% of millennials aged 30 to 44 and Generation Z, man, you guys are screwed. Age 18 to 29, consumers are now using buy now, pay later options. BNPL, baby, as a financial lifeline for their daily essentials. You want to go, hey man, I'm going to buy now, pay later, one story said, at Chick-fil-A for that $18 meal. So BNPL providers like Afterpay Limited and AB Bank have witnessed a sudden shift in BNPL trends among their younger users over the past 2 years. They're racking up money, man. So in 21 and 22, millennial and Generation Z consumers often use Afterpay to purchase just apparel, accessories, food. But this is interesting. In 23, apparel and accessories fell behind the categories of arts, travel, and entertainment, home and garden, and hardware. Afterpay has also seen double and triple digit surges among the youngest users in spending from 22 to 23, including for contact lenses, 465%, garbage bags, 182%, and first aid antiseptics, 98%. Wow. And now, kind of the last 8 months, they've been using it for groceries while waiting for a paycheck to buy all essentials without sacrificing anything. You know, this is interesting. Benjamin Enzo, a 27-year-old video editor from San Antonio, Texas, represents a growing demographic of our wonderful Generation Z relying on BNPL services for their essential needs. Enzo, who made less than $7,000 last year, $7,000 for the year, recently used the service on his $40 grocery bill. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a laughing matter. This is very alarming. And, we talk about this, you have 85 million ballers out of 330 million. Okay. You have half of America that, can barely afford one payment in an emergency. You have this going on with the youth. I see what's going on with housing and defaults. Sorry, it's happening. You got to know where to look. One guy wrote back to me and said, "Well, Tim, the interest rates are low." No, yeah, so what? But when you have inflation and you have to make a decision to feed your children or pay your electric bill, and you can't pay your, and then you're feeding your kids, you're not paying your electric bill, or am I paying my mortgage because of inflation? That's what you don't understand. Great, yeah, you got a 2.5% interest rate, but because inflation's up on daily living expenses, you got to make some tough choices, and I know people that are. I just don't hang out with the wealthy. I look at all cross sections. So, and I also like to look at the data and the what some chief economists are saying. Some of them know what they're talking about. Nella Richardson said, there's three reasons why these services have become popular. He said, firstly, the high demand due to late stages of the pandemic. Secondly, the government relief that's supported is almost over. Oh, we all need that help. See, there's such a great job market right now. Everyone's talking about the 3.6 interest rate or the jobs report when 60,000 tech jobs were lost in early 23. Companies have been laying off people left and right. I've done talks about this. I'm not going to bore you with this. I mean, tens of thousands of jobs, major Fortune 500, Tier 1 companies, Fortune 100 companies laying off people. These are six-figure jobs, ladies and gentlemen. And when we talk about the jobs report, they're counting part-time jobs. And people to maintain their living now are getting 2 to 3 jobs before the pandemic, but they could do in one. And they're counting that individual. Oh, that individual's got 3 jobs. So, in other words, the fear of spiraling deeper into credit card debt, often exacerbated by exorbitant interest rates exceeding 20%, has fueled a notable surge in the adoption of P&L services among consumers. So that is going on. And they're using it now as a traditional credit cards uh, to manage their daily expenses without looming threat of hefty interest charges. So kind of the allure of credit cards in the short term is going down, but you can recognize the potential of these millennials and Generation Zers of overspending using Afterpay. They're trying to make things more manageable, but given you look at the memories of the recession impact on consumer bankruptcies, which peaked at 1.5 million in 2010. Uh, I was a millennial then, and you saw, what happened in the wake of the financial crisis, and they don't want to. You don't want to fall into that trap again, and it's happening. Maybe not with credit cards, and I said this on the last podcast. Over 221 million credit cards have been opened up since for the last 2 years. 221 million. What does that tell you? What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? So be on the lookout for that. America is going deeper and deeper into debt. And then we look at things on a holistic global scale and the debt crisis there. It's getting ugly. It's getting ugly. And you can't tell me that jobs report is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? I know major corporations in the financial sector, the real estate sector, and we're going to talk about that right now real quick. I mean, when you talk about the National Association of Realtors, this has been talked about ad nauseum. I just want to give my quick take on it. They agreed, they caved to a settlement regarding the broker commissions. And, the headlines, of course, they gleefully tooted the end of 6% payments to greedy brokers who never worked all that hard or provided any value. Let me just say this. In every industry, there's lawyers, there's doctors, there's brokers in real estate that don't provide value. That's, in my opinion, 90%. But the 10% in any industry work their ass off and they provide a valuable service. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, coming from big pharma, big tobacco, startup companies, I work for startups. I consult right now for corporations. I am also a licensed broker in multiple states, but that's not my main gig. And I will say I met a lot of shysters in the real estate sector compared to other industries. They're just not educated enough compared to other industries that I worked in. I will say this, I think to be a real estate broker, you should have to have a 4-year degree. To be a real estate agent, you should have to go to school at least 2 years to be a real estate licensed agent. And to be a broker, you should have to have a 4-year degree and have sold a minimum of $10 million of real estate, whether you can prove it in the market you're in or globally. 10 million. Then you can be a broker. That would weed out all the bullshit. Okay? Just like in law school, they're getting rid of the bar exam, which I think is a big mistake because it's a hard exam in a lot of states, right? But they're saying, I don't want to get into this. It's being racist and all this bullshit. But it's going to hurt the law industry. I mean, are we soon going to say, there's not enough certain pilots, and we got to get rid of testing and lower the standards for pilots? But I think they need to up the standards for real estate professionals. And but in any industry, ladies and gentlemen, there's bad people. But in the real estate business, I've met some scary ones that know their stuff. They know it, and they provide a valuable service to their clients. You need real estate brokers to do broker deals. We have access to data that you don't as a buyer, seller, and I'm sick of hearing that. That it's in any industry there's issues, but I've seen a lot of shysters, I have to say, compared to some major industries that I worked in, but I work for some highly regulated industries. Just like real estate is highly regulated, but you think they're regulated? Big tobacco is regulated. Big pharma is regulated. When you consult for big pharma and other industries, it's highly regulated. And then startup companies when they're developing in the computer sector. But there are a lot of scary, smart people I met in the startup game. But in the real estate game, no. You should have to have 2 years of it just teaches you things about schooling under your belt, whether it's community college, 2 years in college. And to be a real estate broker, you should have to have a 4-year college degree. And you should have to have at least $10 million sold as a real estate agent before you become a broker. I think that's would be fair. But so a lot of people are like, yeah, screw these real estate brokers and agents. They don't deserve their commission. They said we're a bunch of money grabbing shysters. it's true. There's this perception the public has about real estate professionals. You know, I think the good ones have always had to work a bit harder to prove their value, despite the persistent PR problems in this industry. But, ladies and gentlemen, there's good in every industry, and there's bad. And I would err a little more compared to other industries I work for, more bad in the real estate industry. Maybe this will be a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans going on at the NRA and these sexual suits and craziness. Just do your fucking jobs, people. Stop sleeping with people you fucking work with. Do your jobs. Get educated. I'll school so many people on this. I mean, study the markets globally. I know people that are handed stuff from builders and they can't close shit. They're terrible at sales and they don't know shit about the markets. I know every market in the country. You name a city, I'll tell you what their numbers are. You tell me, I'll tell you what's going on in Boise, Idaho, to Florida. And I had one guy say, well, who cares, Tim? Yeah, but I'm doing deals globally. My GCI is in the top 10%, guaranteed. So, but know the global markets, even if you don't need to, know them. Go into a conversation. Well, Mr. Customer, let me tell you why, based on the local market in LA, and let me tell you about the migration patterns, what I'm seeing in LA, what's going on with the migration patterns from LA to Vegas, to Boise, Idaho, to Florida, and why buying in LA might be your best asset long term due to the appreciation rates. Yes, we have a crime problem, and I can go through all the crime statistics, but you see how that conversation would flow? If you understand all the crime data, if you understand what's going on in Boise, Idaho, and all these cities, your client's going to go, oh my God, I like this guy, gal. I'm gonna go with them and buy an investment property in Florida. So I think it's important to study all the markets. Why not be a confident person and be a global expert in your own head? And I study it every day because it's dripping off my tongue. I love it. I love knowing what's going on globally. I can tell you what's going on in Spain. I can tell you what's going on in Italy. I can tell you what's going on in the south of France. I can tell you what's going on in Mexico. I can tell you what's going on in Tulum. That's what you got to do as a real estate professional. But there's more bad than compared to other industries, in my opinion. But there's the damn good ones are damn good. And I've met some good ones. And so I think I fear this decision will create new problems and have lasting repercussions. If you can indulge me for a minute, when I think about this, you remember what I've always said this. I'm going to say this, as Mark Twain famously wrote, when a newspaper published his obituary, he said, "Rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated." Broker commissions, ladies and gentlemen, are not dead. Rather, they have been, we call, decoupled. Also, remember what Mark Twain said, they're not building any more land, so get some. Buy some as much as you can. And that's what I tell people in real estate. I'm going to wait for those interest rates to go down, Tim. Are they building any more land right now? Is real estate an excellent hedge against inflation? I'm helping a guy right now, and it's going to be an out-of-state deal. We just lost one. I'm going to tell you, it went over asking. This house went over asking in Long Beach, but it's a duplex. But the numbers don't work. Even at 50% down, he's going to put $500 cash down. It's still almost negative. Doesn't pay for itself. But he's getting killed. He's a doctor. He's getting killed in taxes, and he doesn't have any investment property. He's got all his money in stocks. And we went to dinner, and I rolled through all the numbers. And bottom line is, there might be a little pain in the beginning, but with the tax write-offs, getting the rents up, which I can do for him. The rents, are $2,100. They should be $2,800. And you got 2 units. That's $2,800. That's what, $5,600. And but you think about it. It's 7% interest rate. $400 or $500 down. It's almost paying for itself. Once you get the rents up, but he's got taxes too. So that's how hard it is right now because of the interest rates. We missed those 2 to 3%. You got 7% interest rates on an income property. But this property is going to go over asking because why? The institutional investors are coming in still and paying cash for property. I told you BlackRock put $50 billion aside. There's another property down my street. I almost bought this 4 years ago. I kicked myself. I mean, beautiful yard, but only 1,700 square feet. So it sold for $999 in 2019. Okay. It went for sale 2 months ago for $1,389. Okay. It sold for $1,550. Multiple offers in this market right now. So in the right neighborhood, and this is what my friends don't get in the Midwest. In the right neighborhood in California, stuff is still getting multi-offers. And no one understands that. I got people, oh my God, the homeless. No, the homeless are downtown LA. They're not in Beverly Hills, in Malibu, and there's some in Beverly Hills, but I'm just telling you, I mean, come on. They're not in these certain neighborhoods, these high-end neighborhoods. So it just depends. It's a crazy market. It's convoluted in a certain sense. And you got to understand the numbers game, and that's why you got to understand the markets holistically, regionally, and locally, not just locally. So my point is, this gentleman, we're going to help him out, and I'm going to give him a kickback in commission and take care of him. Well, we'll find something, but it's just it's crazy. So the settlement disputed 3 major changes. Retails are now required to disclose to sellers that they are not obligated to provide a broker co-op, right? Or a percentage of the total commission earmarked for the buyer's brokers, which is usually half of the total. And brokers who work with buyers must now have a written agreement regarding commission, who they're going to pay. You got to have a written agreement with your buyer. And the multiple listing service, this is key, are no longer allowed to show the amount or even the existence of any co-op that may be offered to the seller. So, not surprisingly, the changes have spawned a lot of questions. So allow me to attempt to dispel some of the misinformation and confusion, in my opinion. Paying 6% broker commission is a thing of the past. True and false. Neither true nor false. Sellers no longer need to offer co-op pay to buyer brokers, saving them as much as 3%. But that means buyers could be on the hook for similar percentage to compensate the broker representing their own interest. Okay? Sellers no longer need to offer co-op to pay the buyer's broker. True. And yes, this is and always has been the case. However, it's a strategy rarely employed, as it has been proven sellers not offering co-ops see fewer showings, remain on the market longer, and see less competition and lower offers. And I don't need to hire a broker when I buy. True, that is true. So like negotiable commissions, this has always been the case. It's always been the case negotiating. Even now in deals, I have to say this on a sidetrack here. It amazes me, though, and this goes back to what I said when I started this presentation, some of the disdain people have for real estate brokers. I mean, do you ask your doctor? Do you ask your lawyer to cut your fees? I have a $10,000 retainer sitting with a lawyer. He charges $600 an hour. I haven't had to use him in a long time, thank God. But he's one of the best, and I hired the best. So I find it very insulting that clients, and if you're going to work with me and you ask me, Tim, will you cut your commission? No, because you're working with one of the best. And I always said this, what you should ask your real estate agent if you work with them is, number one, you should ask the first thing out of your mouth when you interview people to represent you, do you own your own house? 50% of agents don't. If they don't own their own house, you should not hire them because they don't believe in their own product. Number two, do you own investment property? If they don't own investment property, you shouldn't work with them. They don't believe in their own product or service, and they're not talented enough to have their own investment property. And there should be a cutoff. Do you have at least $2 million of real estate and investment property generating at least $5,000 a month cash flow? If they don't, you shouldn't work with them. And they need to prove that to you off their portfolio and rent rolls, which I can do. Do you have at least $2 million of real estate and investments, and do you own your own house? That's how you whittle out the bad realtors. And maybe even the ones that just get leads from builders because they're in with the builders and they give them a bunch of houses for sale, right? But that's just my opinion. You want to work with the best? When someone says, why should I hire you, Tim? I tackle those two things first. If you don't have $2 million of real estate, why the hell am I going to let you help me buy investment property? Have a cutoff. I think $2 million is fair, don't you? So, real estate professionals provide a valuable service, and I find it very insulting when you ask them to cut their services. But, so broker commissions are now negotiable. That is true. And yes, commissions are negotiable, but that's not new. Like I just said, it's not new. In fact, they can be adjusted up until closing, ladies and gentlemen. We just did that on a deal in Las Vegas. Several times in my career, I've given up a portion of my commission to bridge a price gap with the other broker to get the deal done. And we do that all the time. And I have agreed to discount for repeat clients when asked. If I have a repeat client, which I did in Wisconsin, I discount it all the time. It's just that I don't want you to have to ask me. I'm aware of it and I do it. But when I always tell my clients, if you're looking for a friend, you don't want to hire me. If you're looking for a shark that's not a courier, that's a damn fucking shark that's going to fight for you. I've walked more people out of fucking deals than into deals. I've walked more buyers out of deals than into deals. Okay? And then you hire me. If down the road we become friends, great. But if you want a shark, you hire me. If you want a friend, you don't hire me. And that's part of my presentation too. So now they're also saying because of this, the price of real estate will go down. I think that's 100% false. You people who are just pundits don't know shit about real estate. You think this change, real estate's going to go down? You just screwed the buyer. So experts and studies say that it's doubtful as closing costs for buyers are likely to be higher, not lower, and sellers typically don't set prices based on commissions, but rather they think the market will bear. Okay, so not using a broker on the buyer side will make the process easier. I'm going to be just fair. Maybe that's where we're at right now. Not no or yes, maybe. So if you're comfortable negotiating with a seasonal professional on the seller side and are familiar with, let's say contracts and the law, understand the escrow and title process, have relationships with licensed and experienced inspectors and contractors, know the local code and zoning requirements, and have access to knowledge of off-market listings not listed on the MLS, then you bet. Then you bet, ladies and gentlemen. And see, that's the value that we provide as real estate brokers. We have the inside baseball that you're not going to get off Zillow. And if you're working with a competent real estate professional, and they're all over the United States, I bashed it earlier, but there's a lot of good ones in every state. They're going to fight for you and get you the best price. It's been proven. For sale by owner, they don't save as much money when using a broker. So I think it's clearly going to take some time right now to adjust, but candidly, I see a colossal, goat rodeo ahead right now. I predict a host of, unintended consequences, some of which bode well for the most deserving. The cream always rises to the top. And I can speak to a lot of markets. I happen to be in LA this week. I'm going out of town. And there's a lot of, the top brokers in LA are going to be just fine. And the ULA screwed things up for top people and the tax people held out. But the top people, they're going to be just fine. And there's going to be ways where selling brokers will offer $20,000 or $15,000 at closing cost. Because of the wording in the MLS. You got to see how this is going to work out. So, when you kind of look at the, take first-time buyers and veterans, most banks require 20% down. If buyers are paying their own commissions or an attorney, they'll have to come up with more money up front, ladies and gentlemen. And, if you honored us with your service and need a VA loan, you're prohibited by law from paying fees, forcing our heroes to use an attorney or go at it alone. So there's a problem. Further, I would argue that these changes could also disrupt the broader economy. The housing sector, ladies and gentlemen, affects everything. It affects jobs, consumer spending, the construction industry, banks, lenders, title companies, appraisers, inspectors, and surveyors are all tied to the transaction. They're all tied. It's a totally integrated, complex process that works beautifully when it works, and it works all the time. And this is all intertwined. And lastly, and I think this is a good thing, and I know people are going to be upset with me. But I expect many new or part-time brokers will leave the business or stop, repping buyers altogether. The National Association of Realtors is down under 1.2 million for the first time in a long time. A lot of people got into this business during COVID and thought they're going to kill it, and they don't realize you got to work. And there you go. For you assholes that say that they're idiots, yeah, there's idiots in every industry. But see, a lot of 80% of real estate professionals fail because it's hard. It's hard, and I fail. It's not the only thing I do. And you can say, "Well, Tim, you're not successful." I think I'm doing pretty well globally, but it's not the only thing I do. Because that's just not the way my mind works. I got a lot on my plate, and I have a job also that's 30, 40 hours a week, consulting and doing other things. So, and running a global real estate business. So, but you're going to see a lot of part-time brokers will leave the business or stop repping buyers altogether. It will undoubtedly lead to more competition, which I think is a good thing. So, it's more transparency. But I worry the lack of agency, proper disclosure and compliance are likely to lead to delays, lawsuits, and more cost to consumers. You think the consumers are going to save, ladies and gentlemen? You think again. You think again. And I'd say to my brothers and sisters in the real estate industry, don't be such shysters. Work with your, I always, when I work with competing, like I just put this offer, this house I'm going to lose probably. I said, hey, he's my teammate. I mean, I asked the guy, I said, what can I do to help you with your seller? And I tell you, and this shows you're not a seasoned professional. He goes, what do you mean help me with my seller? I don't need any help, Tim. And if you go about it that way, if you look at it that way as a selling agent, you're a moron. We're there to help each other. I'm there to help you. And then I had to clarify. I'm like, well, what can I do to help you? Can I, seller's choice for escrow, more down on the down payment. What can I do to help you with your seller so you get paid? And we make this a smooth process. I have some flexibility. You know your seller. What's their personality like? What's their psychology? These are things that I know about my seller. And I'll tell you, this guy's like, and then the light bulb went off. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm there to help you. That's my approach. And that should be every real estate professional's approach when you're working with the opposite side, where it's a team. We're a team. We're there to work together. A fiduciary responsibility for our buyer and your seller, but work together and help our seller and buyer out and come to a happy medium, right? And I don't see as much teamwork like I did in other industries, in my opinion. And that's just disappointing. And I think that might change because now you're going to get a lot of this shit out of this industry because they actually got to go out and, some got to work a little bit. A lot of people just get referrals, but some people earn that from years and years of hard work. And they have relationships with builders. They've earned that. So that's great. That's good for them. But I think the cream always rises to the top in every industry, and the cream's going to have to rise to the top. I just say make it friendly competition, okay? So, kind of one more thing here. When you look at the tricky local regulation and a decade of cheap money in the housing market has created a perfect storm for prices to stay high. And I would just add it depends on the market, okay? You got to look at it holistically, but break it down. Rents and home prices skyrocketed during the pandemic-fueled housing boom, and they're still high, but demand continues to remain strong. I'm seeing a lot of price drops in certain markets right now, and like I said, you're going to wait for interest rates to go down to 4 or 5. 4 is never going to happen again, ladies and gentlemen. Now's the time to pounce in the next couple of years because people are dropping prices. And certain markets they are. So, there is a lack of supply. I've also touched on this, that there's a lot of homes in certain markets, thousands of homes that have been built that are not on the MLS yet. Are they purposely trying to keep inventory low? It's interesting. So the rental market began to soften towards the end of 2023 and in the beginning of 24 because of an uptick of multifamily construction. But it seems to be more of a short-term, I told you, phenomenon rather than something that would meaningfully bring rents down. So rents were higher last month, 21% higher than they were before the pandemic. That's just according to rents.com and some internal and rent roll data that I use, and I talked to some other investors. So, I talked to someone who's got a 3,000 and not even a prime part of LA for a 2-bedroom unit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to stress, not prime. I don't want to give it away at the moment because I'm looking for a piece of property there. There's varying estimates of the housing shortage, but by one estimate, we're missing between 2 and 7 million homes. Um, so ladies and gentlemen, we've had decades of really cheap money, and if you look at the interest rates in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, were historically low rates. Rates were 9 or 10%, higher than that, 80s. And rates are still historically low. What concerns me is all the hubbub, and maybe it's just brain fog. Rates go up 2-3%, and people are crying, but there's also a lot of people that can't make those payments compared to the 2% rate. And that just shows how many people are struggling and how this is not a healthy economy right now. It should be like, hey, I want to hear people go, 6%, Tim, no problem, man. I'll put fucking $1 million down, $2 million. But we're not hearing that. We're hearing complaining. I'm going to wait till rates come down a couple points and save $300 a month. You're going to wait till rates come down and try to save $300-400 a month. But you're hearing that stuff. And you got to have a conversation with your client, but I'm finding that a lot of these clients don't have the money. Yes, there's people on the sidelines holding, but I would tell you to get on the frickin' field over the next year and into 25, 100%. So, this decade of really cheap money, rates should have never been 2%. Just easy money. So, it's just now we're paying the price. And those institutional investors are coming in. And, BlackRock's got $50 billion aside to buy homes, but they're telling you not to buy homes. But they're going to be buying homes over the next couple of years. You want to bet? Take it. Invitation Homes is an institutional investor, and it has the second largest portfolio of single-family homes in the country. More than 84,000, according to this report. The company owns and operates, this is incredible, over 100,000 homes across 16 major markets. Invitation Homes they sold too, so they'd open up this vertical for a revenue stream, 12,000 homes over the last 5 years, and said we have an unsustainable amount of demand for that product. So Invitation Homes, the CEO is just rolling. Home revenue went up 8.6% last year to roughly $2.43 billion. Partly due to an increase in the average monthly rent per occupied home and an increase in occupancy. So look at that. It's crushing. It's just crushing. And that's just really interesting. And like I said, they're not building any more land, and real estate's an excellent hedge against inflation. If you can't, you got to run the numbers, and if the cash flow is low, you can't come in and pay cash like these institutional investors. I get it. But get into the game, get on the field is what I can tell you. And if you're working with someone that understands the global markets, there's deals out there. You just got to know where to look. And then you need a shark to negotiate a deal for you. And that's what we do. We do it best. But we don't stop until we win. We don't like to lose. But like I said, the good ones, the good investors walk out of deals more than they walk in. And I've walked more people out, and I've walked myself out because I found this home when I was looking for another one. Don't fall in love. I never fall in love with anything, and that's how you stay frosty. And there's deals out there for yourself, but you need to find someone that's going to fight for you and fight for the deal, and not just be a courier. So, with that said, we're going to pass on the health and fitness tip this week, but I got a couple for you, and I'll focus on that next week. First and foremost, instead at the end of the podcast, we'll talk about health and fitness. Got a couple good ones for you. Something that I do, and also something that I try to do that I struggle with. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And America is a beautiful place. If you lived other places in the world, we're the luckiest, freest, safest country in the world, but it's under attack right now. And I would just leave you with this. America, love it or leave it. Till the next podcast, Tim McClone, Mac Oligarchy. Take care.